Alara is a food manufacturing company. We make a whole series of different foods here, primarily cereals, but now we're moving out into milled seed products, snacks. Everything that we sell under Alara brand, we manufacture ourselves. The manufacturing process is absolutely key to what we do. Alara's now been going for 46 years, which is quite a long time. I started the business in a squat in a place called Tolmers Square. I'd been living for a year there without using any money as an opposition to property development. One day I found £2 in the street. The very next day was my most successful day in business ever, because I went down to New Covent Garden Market with my £2. I went round the dustbins picking up thrown away fruit and veg, sold it in a squat, and by the end of that day we had £4. So I doubled my capital in one day. That was a really good start and a foretaste of things to come. The first thing I bought was a sack of flour. In the squat there was an old gas oven in the back, and I used that gas oven to start baking bread. We then started adding whole foods, so we turned into a whole food shop selling oats and dried fruit, seeds and nuts. And then we realised that we had all of the ingredients for muesli. So we started mixing muesli. We then got evicted from that shop and moved to a small corner shop behind the old Camden Town Hall. From there we moved to a larger shop. We expanded into wholesaling, into retailing, into muesli production, and about 25 years ago we divested from the shops, from the wholesaling, and concentrated just on muesli production. And that's when we were in half of our present premises here on Camley Street, just behind King's Cross. Since then we've been concentrating on cereals until about the last 2 years. About 20% of our production is Alara brand, 80% is products for other companies, multiple retailers, wholesalers, probably 600 different products altogether. About 5 years ago, another thing we added was the skills to mill seeds. We've been making milled seeds for quite a lot of the multiple retailers, but just in the last year we've decided to launch a series of these products just for ourselves under Alara brand. So these are now just entering the market now and looking to be extremely successful. Over the last 45 years, Alara has had a whole series of firsts. We were the very first cereal company in the UK to make mueslis without added sugar. We're the very first anywhere in the world to be certified organic. First food manufacturer anywhere in the world to be zero waste. And we were the very first company to be licensed by the Celiac Society for free-from cereal production. First cereal company to use no plastic in our packaging. So our packs look as if they have plastic, but in actual fact it's a very specialist see-through paper. Our challenge statement is that we're the most sustainable food manufacturer on earth. This sustainability is absolutely at the core of what we do here at Alara. Our first measure of sustainability is our economic measure, how we deal with finances and also our relationships with our suppliers. Our measure here is COD. We pay all of our suppliers immediately on delivery or in advance. Our second pillar is our environmental measure. If the environment disintegrates or gets completely chaotic, really that's the end of the business and the end of civilization as we know it. The food supply chain emits 1/3 of all climate change gas on the planet. 1/3 of that is nitrous oxide, 1/3 of it is deforestation, and 1/3 of it is all the methane from cows and refrigeration and transport and manufacturing. As Alara is part of that food supply chain, addressing climate change is, in my view, absolutely the key environmental measure that we can take. The way we've addressed this is we've developed over the last 8 years our database system, and that calculates the embedded CO2e of all of the food we produce. This we then publish on our website, and we work with a charity called Rainforest Saver, who has projects with indigenous farmers in sub-Saharan Africa, in Guyana and Ecuador, planting a crop called Inga. By planting Inga, first that's sequestering carbon, and secondly it allows the farmers to have permanent places to live, so they no longer need to chop rainforest down and burn it to add fertility to the soil, as the Inga is a very successful nitrogen fixing plant. The third foundation of sustainability is the social foundation. Our measure there is great parties. So we have a whole series of parties here. The major one that we have is our Harvest Festival in September. It involves all of our community here, all of the businesses, all of the residents in the area. We have a big fire, we have lots of food, music, games for the children, and we have harvesting from the 200 fruit trees that we have growing around the factory here. By bringing all the whole community together, the parties have now expanded into the Camley Street Neighbourhood Forum, and over the last 6 years we've developed plans for developing this whole area into a world-leading sustainable urban development with food at its foundation, and 1,000 properly affordable homes for the people who live and work in Camden. The fourth foundational element, and one that people quite often forget about, is governance. The governance measure we've put in place is transparent audits. All of these audits we put on our website and make them publicly available, so anybody can have a third-party independent review of the conditions under which their food is being produced. We think that it's really important that anybody who's eating food from our factory knows where it's coming from and the circumstances under which it's produced. Sustainability is our term for the next step in where society is going. At the moment, things are getting chaotic. When we move to a sustainable state, all of that complexity will get buried in a higher level order. So we'll enter a new way of doing things, just like we're now in the information age and we've come out from the industrial age. The next age is the sustainable age. I think it's going to be an amazing place to live, and certainly I want both myself and Alara to do whatever we can to help that transition. We're sitting now in our permaculture forest garden. It's a demonstration garden. We have an open day here in June. We'll have about 800 people coming around to look at it, and we have people from all over the world coming to view it. In the garden we've got over 80 food crops growing. We produce over 2 tons of food, and this is genuinely zero carbon food. We've got a whole range of amazing things growing. We've got mulberries, blue bean, figs, Szechuan pepper, apricots, yacon. As well, there's a quite famous Chinese saying that goes, if you want to be happy for a day, get drunk. If you want to be happy for a year, get married. If you want to be happy for the rest of your life, start a garden. So we started this garden about 12 years ago, and the opportunity to come out here into this amazing space in the middle of King's Cross and pick some fruit or dig out a weed or listen to the birds singing, it's an amazing opportunity, and it makes me happy. Recognising and seeing the miraculous nature of food. You plant a seed and you get food growing. It's an amazing thing to have. We've now found our purpose really here at Alara, which is to do what we can to aid this transition from an unsustainable society where we are now to a sustainable one. We've got a whole range of new products coming out, so we've got a message that we want to push out into society using those products. We want to develop our factory here, integrating it with the digital and tech industries with 20 stories of housing above the factory. The vision we have at Alara is to inspire other companies to follow our lead here. I think this is important for several reasons. First of all, just for their economic health. Consumers now are getting more and more engage and understand the need to move to a sustainable future. So those companies that are able to support these aspirations and support this move are the ones that those consumers are going to value. Secondly, if we don't actually move to a sustainable future, we're committing climate suicide. A sustainable future is an amazing place to be. I'm really proud of Alara, and what I hope is Alara will be just sort of like a little acorn sitting here at King's Cross that will allow other companies to see that this is a fantastic way to behave, and this truly sustainable way of doing things will grow into a great oak across the whole world is what's needed. There's two types of power. One of them is coercion, and the other one is inspiration. Coercion isn't sustainable, inspiration is. So to move to a society where inspiration is the most powerful thing is a fantastic place to envisage.